Good news, Tesla fans. Elon Musk has greased up his hog and he is serving it to you whether you like it or not. I hope you're ready to gobble it down. Elon Musk is saying that Tesla full self-driving will switch to a monthly subscription and remove the one-time purchase option. Another beautiful entry into the you will own nothing and be happy future that we find ourselves in. We're now entering a new, even stinkier era where you can't even pay for the full automobile anymore. You don't pay to own it. Now, in order to get one of the most crucial components, like selling points of a Tesla vehicle, you will have to fork over $99 per month as part of this subscription plan, suckling on this subscription-based titty for however long you want access to the full self-driving features, which was a huge reason a lot of people were buying these fucking things in the first place. Previously, there was an option to pay $8,000 and you get the whole kit and caboodle. You get the Tesla and you get the full self-driving features. But now Elon said, nope, I'm taking the toys back. We are going to wean you off of this. Now, you can't even own the entire motherfucker. Now you buy the vehicle and then have to subscribe separately for the full self-driving features. It's insanity. So you can't even pay to own your whole vehicle. Now you can pay to get most of the vehicle, then you will need to start subscribing for the rest. You don't even get full access. It is just another step in this awful fucking direction in this subscription-based economy where every single thing, every single aspect of your life is becoming subscription-based. We are entering the future where you don't actually own anything. What you own is the idea of things, like your video games. They're basically just renting it. You're getting a permission slip from the benevolent developers to grant you access to the game for however long. In Tesla's case, Elon Musk is drip feeding you features as long as you subscribe. But when you have a Tesla now, you only get half of it unless you are subscribing for the other half. And there's no option to just own the whole thing outright anymore. He has wiped that shit out. And I feel like every person on the planet should have an issue with this kind of model here from Tesla. But because it's Elon Musk and people can't help but swallow his meat, it's an addiction more severe than Fent, they are defending it as if he's doing them a favor somehow. People are willingly bending over and applauding as these billionaires butt-fuck them to death. Like, as they get less and less ownership of things, they get happier and happier because the billionaires are telling them they should be. Unreal. Farting in your face and telling you that it smells like roses, and they're like, yes, it actually does. This is amazing. It's just infuriating. Because they worship this guy, they're willing to just roll over and just abandon what they pretend to believe in. It's craziness to me. Now, anyway, I don't want to harp on that too much, because instead, when I went to Elon Musk's Twitter account to see if he went any deeper on the Tesla subscription model now for full self-driving services, I saw this little annoying nugget here from the brain of a supposed free speech advocate. Teaching people to hate America fundamentally destroys patriotism and the desire to defend our country. Such teachings should be viewed as treason, and those who do it imprisoned. Wow. And he's referencing how high schoolers were polled saying that many of them were taught that America was built on stolen land, and he is weighing in saying that that kind of teaching should be treasonous and the perpetrators thrown in jail. Very interesting take from the free speech guy who's probably fresh out of the K-hole. Elon, what the fuck, man? In what way does that even remotely fit into your narrative of being all for free speech no matter what? Let's just set everything else aside and we're just going to play ball here. Let's assume very bad teachers teaching mumbo jumbo. This is outrageous curriculum here. Well, then what has happened for 100 years now is that if it is not a good teacher, not educating students, and a bunch of gobbledygook that they're spitting out there that's not great, well, then the school usually fires them. But why does Elon Musk want to go a step further and make it a crime punishable by being thrown in the slammer? Why does he believe that teachers that are teaching students something that he doesn't like means that it's treasonous and should have them landed in the big house? That's a little fucking odd. That feels like it goes very much against the core principle of free speech, which is a right that Americans have. And his reasoning for this perspective is super laughable when you look at who he's best friends with, fucking exchanging saliva and group hugging in the shower with. He says that this kind of teaching destroys patriotism and the desire to defend our country. Huh. That's fascinating coming from you, Elon Musk. Do you remember only like a handful of months ago, not even a year ago, he made a tweet accusing Donald Trump of being in the Epstein files, which, by the way, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. He deleted the tweet later, but he made a very public statement about Donald Trump being in the Epstein files, which is a hard insinuation of Donald Trump being a potential pedophile. And now he's buddy-buddy with him again, which I would argue is not the makings of a true red-blooded American patriot. And also, as for a desire to defend our country, Elon, Donald Trump is a draft dodger. Are we forgetting that? When the country called upon him to protect it, he wasn't enthusiastically going over to Nam. In fact, he cooked up 5 deferments as well as a bone spurs narrative in order to get out of service to protect this country. So as far as a desire to defend our country goes, you have made best friends with someone who has explicitly, provably avoided doing just that. This nation called upon patriots to defend it. America was calling out to Trump to defend her, and he said, ouch, my bone spur, and didn't do it. So I don't know what the fuck you're yapping about with the desire to defend our country when you are actually sucking the entire asshole of Trump, whom you have also accused of being in the Epstein files. Like, come on. This is absurd. And I could go on, but I also want to make a mention that I scrolled through Elon's Twitter a little bit because I was looking for something in particular. He's very selective with what he calls out as an attack on free speech because he's the free speech guy. But man, I tell you, sports fans, it's real weird how it seems to be crickets from Elon Musk anytime it's related to Israel talking about how they'd like to be able to work towards controlling the conversation around certain topics. Like recently with Netanyahu openly stating that he believes the most important thing would be controlling some of the platforms. Or even more recently, only a couple weeks ago, an Israeli cybersecurity billionaire, Shlomo Kramer, went on television and point blank stated to the hosts and all the Americans watching the program that he believes the First Amendment needs to be limited so that free speech can be protected. He believes that the government needs to control the platforms and that free speech needs to be more limited. I feel like that'd be something very eye-opening to anyone that gives a fuck about free speech, and Elon Musk being the free speech guy, I thought for sure he'd make a peep about it, but nothing. Weird.
So AI is going to revolutionize cyber warfare, is revolutionizing cyber warfare from critical infrastructure to the fabric of society and politics and undermining it, giving unfair advantage to authoritarian governments against democratic countries, First Amendment type of...
That's already happening?
That's already happening. You're seeing the polarization in countries that allow for the First Amendment and protect it, which is great. And I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard, but thank you for sharing. It is refreshing to hear the perspective of a foreign billionaire saying how the First Amendment should be limited.
And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online.
Oh, now that's a really interesting play there. Yeah, that's like a fucking high-level football maneuver right there. John Madden level play. In order to protect free speech, we have to obliterate it, fundamentally. What he is saying is give control of the platforms to the government. And also, I'm not interpreting this. This is literally what he is saying out loud with his whole chest. The platforms need to be controlled by the government, and everyone needs to be unmasked before expressing themselves online. So anonymity gone, privacy gone, and free speech completely limited is the word he's using, but that nomenclature is not accurate. It would basically be fucking crumbled, and he is presenting this as though it is something that we need to be doing right now. I feel like this is a pretty big statement here that is very clearly against free speech, and Elon Musk, he will reply to like 50 follower accounts that just have some like dog shit that they drivel out, and he'll reply to them about free speech. Yet, this was a very big segment on CNBC, an actual televised program, and Elon Musk has nothing to say about it. Now, of course, Shlomo Kramer has no power to actually do anything with this plan that he's cooked up here, this idea that free speech needs to be limited, the First Amendment needs to be, gutted. But it's worth mentioning that Trump is basically Netanyahu's personal fleshlight, so I don't know how much power Shlomo Kramer holds in Israel or anything, so maybe he is able to lobby, for these First Amendment protocol limitations that maybe Netanyahu could whisper into Trump's ear. I have no fucking idea. What I do know is that he is saying this out loud in front of everybody, and yet the free speech guy, Elon Musk, has nothing he wants to say about that. I don't know. Feels a little weird.
And take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah, should do that. And we need to educate people against lies, and government need to develop cyber defense programs that are as sophisticated as the cyber attack. Today it's a 1 to 100 ratio.
I figured I'd let him finish his stance here on limiting the First Amendment, about how everything needs to be controlled by the government here, so that way they can better get their hands on everything and everyone to ensure that, maybe free speech doesn't need to be as free as it once was any longer. Sounds pretty shitty to me. I hate that. I think that's fucking terrible. But, Elon Musk is a busy man. He's got 4,000 tweets to tweet out a day, so maybe he just didn't see this one, or, maybe he had drafted a few but forgot to send because, 20,000 others went to the front of the queue there from his drafts. Surely he's going to get around to talking about it, even just something simple like, oh, I didn't like hearing that. Free speech is extremely important to America. In fact, me personally, Charlie, I would say free speech is one of the most important rights Americans have. And it makes me a little concerned that I'm seeing so much public normalization about the idea of potentially limiting it. I started seeing this back in 2015, 2016-ish, and I've talked about it quite a bit since then. We have been slowly tiptoeing around this idea that maybe we need to look at free speech a little bit differently. And it's been getting more and more concerning, and as of late, it's getting out of control just how open this conversation has become now about no, we need to limit free speech. That's scary. Now, of course, that is again coming from a foreign billionaire. I haven't seen something that bold from anyone on American soil yet, but I feel like we're not far off with how this conversation's been developing, and that shit sucks. Anyway, though, I'll stop yapping about it for now. That's really about it. See ya.